Madam Speaker, I want to ask you about a story we started with. It's Greg Miller and his colleagues at the Washington Post who have reported that the PDB, the president's daily briefing, the most sort of sacred intelligence product, was sounding the alarms over the spread of COVID in China and the lethal danger that it posed to Americans as early as January. Were you aware of that at the time?
No, but I'll tell you this, as an intelligence person, I've over 25 years experience in the intelligence community. The president's daily briefing is just so very important to decision-making and the rest. So what you just heard begs the question, what did the president know and when did he know it? In addition to which, what did the scientists tell him and when did he tell them? Because actually, as a matter of fact, this president has presided over the worst disaster in our country's history, an assault on the lives and the livelihoods of the American people. And he did so by neglect of information, also denial and delay in accepting the facts.
You were in very good company, but you were one of the people clamoring for the release of the PDB when I worked in the George W. Bush White House before 9/11. I was part of I said in the last block, I was part of a communications team that worked to declassify that PDB. I wonder what role you think Congress will play in declassifying Donald Trump's PDB about COVID and when.
Well, let me say this, Nicole. The president has made so many mistakes, and that is all for an after-action review. We have to look forward and hope that he will not continue to make mistakes. This information is very valuable because it says to the American people, the president ignored this guidance, this advice, this information, this intelligence. So hopefully that may change some behavior for him or those surrounding him. That his doing that is dangerous. In fact, deadly. So let us try to say now, let's go forward. What do we have to do as we go forward, as we write the next bill, that CARES 2 bill, as we prepare for the future? I don't know that this administration is, on the basis of any guidance they have scientifically or intelligence-wise, preparing for, if there is a vaccine that is developed, do we have the capacity to produce it in our country? Do we have the supply chain in place to have the ingredients to do that? Do we have the syringes and the vials and the rest, which could take a year to manufacture as much as we need to vaccinate everybody in our country? And do we have in place an ethical standard to fairly and equally distribute such a vaccine? There are things we need to be doing to meet the needs of people that I fear may be lacking from the standpoint of the executive branch if they're ignoring the facts as they have done. But let us just go forward, as I say. We'll save all the review of the president's deadly behavior for an after-action review. Let's right now go forward.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.